Hello, I'm Caroline Blum.
Hello, my name is Yard Leopard.
And I'm Jack Delano, and you're listening to The Real Cost of Opioids.
On today's episode, we're going to talk about the opioid crisis in America. Opioids are pain-reducing medications and are very dangerous when abused. Small doses of opioids are often powerful, addictive, and can even be lethal. Some examples of opioids are oxycodone, Vicodin, codeine, morphine, and fentanyl. Abuse and addiction of opioids has become rampant in America, causing over 550,000 deaths in the past 20 years. Not only is the opioid crisis in America tragic, but is also very costly, costing the federal government nearly $1 trillion annually. But how can we prevent this crisis? Most people advocate for harsher legislation surrounding opioid prescription and possession. But who has the authority to enforce said laws, the federal government or the state governments? Today, you will hear from members of both sides of the argument, starting with the anti-federal activist, Jack.
The opioid crisis can be better solved with the local law enforcement and state governments that know the problem well. As a journalist, I've seen firsthand how opioids ruin people's lives and know the federal government is unable to help because they are too far separated from the issue. The Constitution's 10th Amendment states that the powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited to it by the states, are reserved to the states respectfully. The topic of drug control is not in the Constitution. This means, by default, the right to regulate drugs should be given to the states. According to the American Journal of Public Health, between 1 in 4 and 1 in 2 opioids prescribed to adults are overprescribed. These numbers fluctuate state by state, making it more efficient to let the states with more overprescriptions pass a stricter law. Dentists and other medical practitioners are already held accountable by a state license to practice their profession. The BMJ states that the top 1% of insurance providers account for 50% of all opioid doses and opioid prescriptions. Currently, insurance and medical overprescription is a main issue with the war on opioids and is already regulated by the states. So wouldn't it make logical sense to add opioid regulation to the same category? This would help states choose their own tailored method for their cities and give them options to put the hammer down on both the practitioner and insurance side of the issue.
Thank you so much for the introduction. So today we're going to talk about how the federal government should really have the control over the use of opioids and the distribution of opioids in the United States. As of 2020, 68,630 people estimated died of opioid overdoses. And in Article 1, Section 8, Clause 18 of the Constitution, it states, "The Congress shall have power to make all laws which shall be necessary and proper for carrying into execution the foregoing powers and all other powers vested by the Constitution in the government of the United States or in any department or office thereof." The United States Drug Enforcement Administration also has the Controlled Substances Act that allows the federal government to look into cases of overprescription and to look into cases where the drugs are being used in an incorrect way. They are able to look into the manufacturing of a drug, a medical society, a pharmacy, and a public interest concerns with drug abuse and things of that nature. And this allows for the government to look into those cases.
Thank you, gentlemen, for your enlightening information. Hope to see you again soon. That just about wraps it up for us here at The Real Cost of Opioids. On today's episode, we addressed if the federal government or state governments should be able to control legislation surrounding the opioid crisis. On the federal side, Yared looked at the necessary and proper clause, considering the number of deaths that have happened because of opioids in America, and Jack discussed how states should have this right because they already control the insurance and medical practitioner licenses. So, let us know what you think. Thank you. Okay. Just give me 5 seconds to throw him down the stairs.
Then it says, "Thanks for joining us today." Signing off.
She said throw him down the stairs.